Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Straight Line Motorsports GT3 Championship round number 4 here at Dragon Trail Seaside. I'm your host and commentator for today's set of races, SDM_RRDZ, and of course we had a bit of a technical miscalculation, technicality issue with the first live stream, but now that has since been resolved, and we are now underway with qualifying as we speak. 6 cars taking to the track, so not a lot of points at play here, but it should be interesting nonetheless. So Superboy in the Mercedes taking to, oh, the points have not even been up to date. So points haven't been up to date, so I can't go off that for the time being. But Superboy and Dude, of course, in the 29 Mercedes and in the Aston Martin, once again going at it. And Dude, who has had now 2 wins this season, has done a very, very impressive job in the Pro-Am Championship, as he's been doing. And then we have a new entry here today in the form of Iapez 11 in the number 11 Audi. So he is looking to he's looking to set his mark in the championship, of course, in the Donut Media sponsored Audi, what it looks like. And then another interesting development here is that the Grand J10 has switched out of the McLaren and into the Nissan GTR. So the McLaren, I don't think, was the best car to use within the championship because, of course, he didn't have the best luck, but of course he was determined to do as best as he can. So he's looking for a new look and a new change in the Nissan GTR, and hopefully that brings the pressure for the field. And then, of course, bar 27 in the 27 Corvette as we round off the grid of vehicles taking part today. So the first set of qualifying laps beginning now as Superboy makes his way through the first chicane right ahead of Dude. And these top two are going to be looking for some serious competition, and they're going to be looking to put down some very fast, very heated flying laps here in this session. Dude getting a little more AstroTurf than Superboy did, and Chris the Crow, previously in the Blanc Pond sponsor Ferrari, and Suzuka, switched over to the Aston Martin Fuji, and it looks like this car has been doing wonders for this driver here ever since he switched out. Bar 27 through the S's. Grand J10 Iapez also rounding through the S's as we speak. But this is the interesting part where this course makes it very dangerous for what it is. Go on board with the Aston Martin of Dude, who hits the foot raw, and that chicane right there. Oh, and he gets a bit of contact. We'll go on board with Chris the Crow right about now. He makes it through fine. Go on board with bar 27. He gets it right. We'll go on board with, oh, Grand J10 just slightly hits the wall. And Grand J10 does it very well. First set of laps are coming in now. Superboy with a 139.4, Dirty with a 39.3, Chris the Crow with a 39.494, Bar 27 with a 139.1, and then Iapez, who all these guys get through no problem. Bar 27, the man on pole position, and he's looking for his first pole of the season. So we'll go on board with Grand J10, a 143.5, so he's not had the best time, but also the same can be said for Iapez, and these guys are looking to improve, will look to improve on their lap times, of course. Yuri11 says hello, and it's nice to see another Audi. It's always good to see drivers making the way in the Straight Line Motorsports GT3 Championship as usual and as expected. James Head says, drivers are struggling through that chicane, but if you meet it at the right angle, then you can take it flat out, I think. I could say that for myself. I've taken that chicane flat out a couple of times. It just depended on the vehicle that you are driving. So, and then worst case scenario, if you think you can take it flat out and you meet the wall, well, that's meeting your maker right about there, unfortunately. So, the top two making it through just fine. Chris Crow looked like he barely escaped it right there. Bar 27 also makes it through. These guys are taking a lot of the curving now. Right, so back to the front of the field. What can Superboy do in the Mercedes SLS AMG to try and improve on that time? He goes to pole by 0.3 of a second with a 1:38.8. So getting very, very closer indeed. What can Bar 27 do to improve on this lap? None of the Aston Martins improve. And Bart hops back right to pole position with a 1:38.6 by 1/10.5 over Superboy. So the front engine cars are doing very, very well. Oh, and Grand J10 probably had an incident with the wall. He's very, very slow coming towards the final corner. And look at the substantial amount of damage on that car. Oh my goodness me, the engine damage. Yeah, that's gonna halt his progress out of the final corner. So he might have not had the best exit out of that corner, but I'm not sure if he's gonna be able to improve on this lap. But it looked like he took a very, very nasty hit with the wall right about there. Doug Barrow says on a wheel, but definitely not on a pad. Yeah, I was about to say definitely not on a pad, on a controller or a pad that you're gonna make that corner. But with a wheel, it's definitely possible. But there's always that sense of just, you know, you always want to optimize the car for as better handling and better grip as you can. Sometimes the car is better for straight line speed, sometimes the car is better for cornering. But of course, that is being shown here for most of these guys regardless. So, Superboy now back to the start finish line. What can he do in response? No improvement by 0.4 of a second. That is a massive gap as he's got 3 laps. And Durdude out of nowhere in a 37.9 takes pole by a whopping 0.7 of a second over Bar. And Bar down by 0.8. So he's got a bit of work to do. Christopher Crow now, and he's going to try and leapfrog the field on some newer rubber. A couple of these guys who are doing very, very well have yet to score pole position for the first time. Iapez now, what can he do now? In the Audi, he improves to a 141.9. And the Grand J10 now, I think he's just probably setting himself up for a good exit right there. That is a very, very strong exit out of that final corner. So what can he do now to try and improve on that 43.5 that he has set? Yeah, he's definitely taking a reconnaissance lap to try and get ready for this lap. Let's take a look at the quick times. And Bar has a purple sector 1, so he's fastest up to everybody. A 32.9, so that's a very, very good first sector for Bar 27 right there. Oh, and Durdude's in the wall. The man on pole position has eaten the dust on the chicane right there, and that exactly right there is the reason why you want to be very, very cautious indeed for the corner. And Durdude now is going to get himself ready for another flying lap. Oh, and that might be day done for him because 137. Yeah, that's qualifying done for him. So, and Bar 27 is going into the chicane. Oh my goodness! So drama before qualifying, before the race has even begun. So the damage has been repaired for Bar. He's just getting himself ready for the final lap as the man on pole Durdude now has gone to the pits. So one final lap to go for Bar 27. Superboy is on a lap now, and Krista Crow has begun his final lap on fresh rubber. So the man most likely to take pole position is either going to be Durdude, Superboy, or Krista Crow, because Bar 27 now, actually don't even count out Bar 27, so we still got 3 guys now still with a chance at pole position. So Grand J10 now will lap the final corner, and he will get another lap. Oh, a 144 going towards the kink right there. So he's had a terrible lap incident somewhere. 5 seconds off. Ooh, he's not having a good day as well. And Iapez will go to the pits. He's going very, very slow indeed, so I'm not sure what the issue with that is. And it looks like he's stopping. So, and qualifying is over. Superboy now, he will come across the start-finish line, and there is no improvement. So, Superboy can only muster third at best. Bar 27. Oh, he's so close to the right-hand wall, and he's setting a personal best second sector. So, he's got to find a lot of time now. Chris the Crow now coming across the start-finish line as I speak, and he hopped a pole. He sets a fastest lap, but he does not improve on position. So, Bar 27 now, can he leapfrog it? No, 2/10, he closes the door, but that means Grand J10 now, the last man. Can he set a lap? Oh, and he's in the wall hard, and that's going to be day done for him, unfortunately. So, with that right there, qualifying will come to a close. And Grand J10 now rounding the final corner for the start of this 6-car race. I think regardless of the fact that we have 6 entries. Oh, and he's just leapfrogged Iapez for 5th. Oh my goodness gracious. Oh my goodness me. And I thought Grand J10 was done, but I guess not entirely. But now, race start. It's time to see these 6 cars looking more like a sprint race at this rate. But Dude on pole, Bar 27 in the lone Corvette on second. Superboy and Chris the Crow make up row 2, and Grand J10 and Iapez for the back of the grid. Only 3 rows of cars taking part here. Let me see if I can. Well, I gotta wait for the thing, obviously. So, and we wait for the grid to go green, and we are green flag racing here at Dragon Trail Seaside. I'm expecting a lot of drama here, and I can't tell who got a good start. Switching the camera to variable, and Bar 27 looks like he's gonna try and jump in. Oh, but look at Superboy on the inside. And Dude is going to do a good job covering that inside line. It is a clean start, and Iapez has jumped Grand J10 for 5th. But look at this right now. Bar 27 is going to apply the pressure to Superboy right about here. And Dude is going to lead the field for the first time towards the end of Sector 1. Oh, and Bar 27 has got very, very squirrely, and this is going to allow Chris the Crow to potentially try and jump him for precision. Can he do so towards the S's here? And Bar 27 and Chris the Crow still going at it for 3rd. Not giving each other any bit of room. Don't count on Superboy on Dude. Oh, and Chris the Crow potentially making a dive down the inside, but a dive down to the inside for Iapez. Oh, and he sends him wide, and he's hit him in the wall. Oh, that's not a good move for Grand J10, unfortunately, as Iapez, that might have been, I'm not sure if he was squarely out of that corner, but we will have to wait and see. Oh, and Superboy has jumped Dude right there out of the chicane, and he's lost 2 positions, but don't count out Bar 27. Oh, Superboy, he's going to make the move to the final corner. Can he make a move stick indeed? Yes, he is, but don't count out Superboy's challenge out of that final corner on a very hectic flying first lap. And look at these trains and cars on board with Bar 27. He is right behind him. Oh my goodness gracious me. Bar 27 looking to driver's right. And look at this right now, potentially 3 wide into the first chicane. This is unbelievable stuff going on in the Pro-Am Championship right about here. I actually can't believe what is going on. Oh my goodness me. Oh, and Superboy goes on a little bit of AstroTurf. And Chris the Crow right here is going to get that 3rd place from Superboy. Superboy, who was briefly leading the race. Oh, Superboy's going wide and out of chicane. Oh, and a barely gentleman. Oh, hang on. A very, very sportsmanlike move from Chris the Crow, who looked like he forced Superboy wide out of turn number 3. And of course, he gave that position back, so a very, very gentlemanlike move from Chris the Crow. Grand J10 has got the position back. Oh, and Iapez with a bit of front end damage. So he's had an incident somewhere. Oh, that's a big spin right there. And Grand J10 has gone around out of the very high sweeping S's. Oh, and be careful of Iapez. Oh my goodness me, he does a very good job of avoiding that. And Durdude is right back on the tail end of bar 27. And this chicane is going to be very, very deadly. Oh, Durdude gets a better run out of the chicane. I think bar 27 was letting it off, so he wasn't going to be able to hit that chicane, but Durdude was pushing a lot more aggressively out of that chicane indeed. And don't count out these two, of course. Oh, Durdude now having to defend from bar 27, who's got a great run out of the final corner. This is amazing stuff that we're seeing here. I spiked right about there. Jesus, I was getting over a bit dramatic right about there. So bar 27 now on the outside, Durdude on the inside. Nothing doing there for bar 27. Oh, but he sneaks one back up into the other on turn number 2. And Durdude, who completely left the door open, I think, just let bar 27 back on through for the lead. So a lot of lead changes here. Bar 27 defending to the inside. Very, very defensive move right about there. So these guys not giving each other a bit of room. So let's take a look at the comments you guys have been leaving, obviously. The deficit king takes another victim. I guarantee you, Palmer, it's going to take out a couple of victims here in this race. Just you wait. And then Superboy in the chat's name is Lolhead 579 39 37.9 by Durdude. OMG. So once again, on board now with the Aston Martin of Durdude, who is not letting an inch of room for these guys. Oh my goodness me. And it looks like bar 27 played the defensive card, probably parked it up in the chicane and stretch out that gap a little bit. And this has only been the first 5 minutes of the race, so it's been a very hectic and very chaotic first start of this race. And we're only complete 3 laps into this race. Iapez and Grand J10 having a race as well for 5th place. So a very, very, very chaotic race all around. And Kristen Crow and Superboy is doing an absolutely very good job. Durdude now back in front of bar 27, who is absolutely pressuring the crap out of him. As bar 27 on the inside, that's going to be a very difficult move to make, especially in a sweeping right-hander like that before you get to that corner right about there, which is a very, very tight hander indeed. And Superboy has very, very much charged himself back up into this lead fight for first. And bar 27 is having to think about, not only think about what's ahead of him, but instead of also what's behind him as well. So, and don't count on Chris the Crow as well, as he will be trying to make the pace up as well. He's about 3 seconds off the leader, but like I said, don't count on any of these guys, which they will make a move at some point. It's just about when and where, especially on a course like this with a death chicane that will easily take out your life. And I mean that to be dramatic, but you know, it's expected. Oh, and I thought, oh, and it looked like bar 27 it looked like he kissed that outside wall. And this is allowing Durdude to easily stretch that gap out to 1 second, to a 1 second lead. Oh, and he goes a bit wide out of that corner. And Durdude is just doing a very, very impressive job indeed, holding on to that first place position. And Grand J10 obviously has got some damage, so I'm assuming he's kissed that outside wall, and I think he's knackered it as well in the Nissan GTR. So damage is on lights, so it will go away, but this will hamper his performance over Iapez, which actually he's catching him up slightly, so he's doing a good job there. Durdude now slowing that gap now down to 0.6 of a second over bar 27. And bar 27 has not had the best of luck, unfortunately. And of course, Elliott has put in the standings for the Straight Line Motorsports Championship now. So this is going off of the championship standings, what I have in front of me as I speak now. So Bar 27 now, coming into this race as championship leader, 48 points on the trot. And Durdude now with behind by 3 points. So it's 48 points for Bar and 45 for Durdude. So these two are going to be going very, very much at it at each other. Superboy and Chris the Crow tied for third with 41. So they're 7 points off. Oh, who is that in the wall? Oh no, it's Bar 27. He done a very, very good job. And I think with those right front suspension damage, he has knackered that inside chicane. The driver's right-hand side wall, and unfortunately, it has dropped him down to 4th place and way off the leaders. So that's major championship implications right about there. And unfortunately, it has caught out one of the higher-ups in the championship. So, Palmer says only 6 cars, but 3 battles going on. What a race. You literally cannot make this up. 3 cars just battling it out, and we're about to have another battle for 3rd place here between Chris the Crow and Bar 27. That's if Bar 27 can absolutely charge himself back up into this race. And don't even count out these two right here for last and 5th and last, as GT3 sends another one down to the inside, and these two are absolutely going at it with each other for valuable points within the championship right about here. And Patrolhead, who is 5th in points, is 5th with 34, and he's 14 off of Bar 27, which is his teammate. So, and then Mushlot in 7th with 33. Grand J10 with 7th with 19 points, so he's way off that order, unfortunately, there. Durdude now stretching this gap back up to 2.6 seconds, and he continues to set down some very, very fast laps indeed in the 14 Aston Martin. And Superboy now, these two are going to be absolutely on each other like a dogfight for this championship right about here. So time-wise, the current timing's right about there. And this is the point in the race where we're starting to see everyone form into a race rhythm here as we speak after a very, very first chaotic 10-minute start to this race. On board now with the Aston Martin of Chris the Crow. So the Aston Martin is very, very prominent indeed within the Pro-Am Championship. Oh, was that Superboy who had it off? No, I think I was just seeing a kick of dirt for Superboy, and I thought he actually had gone off. You can see in the mirror of Chris Crow that Corvette. Don't count it out entirely, but it is coming. If Bar 27 can set the pace, obviously. Oh, and I just see on the mini-map Durdude getting extremely sideways out of that chicane. If you were looking back towards Bar 27, it looked like that Durdude got extremely sideways out of the chicane, which is a very, very deadly thing in this game. Basically, if I had to make a relation to that chicane, I would say it would be relatable to the death chicane of the Formula One Singapore Grand Prix from several years ago. Especially for those, like, I think it was definitely a couple people. I think it was Kobayashi. What else too? I think one of them was Ferraris as well. I think it was Alonso, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, it catches out a couple people, and it definitely catches out a couple people here as well. And I'm extremely wondering what's going to happen within the pro race as well, because course, I think we're going to have a lot more racers in there as well. And also another thing too, for those that do not know, we do our podium interviews for our podium finishers. So you do well in the race, you get your very own interview as well. So, and Dudu right about now, 3.8 seconds is the gap. And he definitely doesn't want to throw it away here. Superboy once again through the chicane. Oh, that's a very hard hit into that chicane there. I'm surprised it didn't even take a bit of damage right about there. And so we got another battle right now underway, holding between Bar 27 and Chris the Crow. Chris the Crow is going to make a move to the inside. He's very, very committed to the inside line. But can Bar 27 outbreak himself? But Chris the Crow outbreaks himself even more. And there's a bit of more contact right about there. And it forces Chris the Crow to take a very, very tighter line. And of course, Chris the Crow is going to have to stay with the Corvette. And this is just very, very close racing for a lot of these guys. And so, while all this is happening, it is continuing to let the top two get away and take home some serious points indeed. So with about 46 minutes left, so I'm not sure, so I'm assuming they're all racing softs. These guys are probably going to think about making pit stops pretty soon. I think the 2-stop might be the way to go this time by, so again, I see Dirty with the windshield wiper. I'm not particularly sure why he does that, but I really likes it. Yeah, I'm not sure what the reasoning behind it is, but I'm not going to let it get too much carried away for me, of course. Superboy still on the hunt, even though he's 5.3 seconds off of the leader. Don't consider the fact that he can make up a bit of time. And these guys are very identical on fuel and very identical on tire wear. So this can be a very, very interesting race indeed. I think it's going to have to come down to pure driver skill, obviously. So R27 still leading over Chris the Crow. And oh, look at that. 2 wheels off the ground completely. And I'm seeing it right now on the live stream. Yep, it's on the live stream now, as I saw it right out there. And R27 is setting a purple sector 1, so he's fast out of everybody into sector 1, out of sector 1. And he's definitely carrying this momentum into sector number 2, which is basically primarily sweeping S's and a very, very tight hairpin. Oh, and so close is Bar 27 to getting off of the gravel traps. That was very, very close indeed for him. Very, very much tighter line for Bar 27. Chris the Crow still in hot pursuit, not letting him get away entirely. Oh, and Chris the Crow had to check up massively right there because I thought he looked like he was about to hit the wall. So that was close, but oh, he was just so close to making contact with the wall. Is that a slow exit at Bar 27? It is, and he's losing a lot of time drastically. These guys, and the fuel is not helping out either. So he may have to come in a bit earlier, and he's losing fuel like mad. So with about, give or take, maybe like two-ish laps or so after the next one, you should be seeing these guys come into the pits for their first stop. Chris the Crow is still on an absolute charge on Bar 27. And this is for the final spot on the podium. So anything will happen and can happen in this championship. And I'm not sure if Bar 27 is trying to save fuel and come in this lap, because that fuel all of a sudden is very, very much dipped, and this is going to allow Christopher Crow to potentially make a move to the inside. Bar defends nicely into that tight right-hander. And with about 42 minutes to go, these guys might have to overfill again and to potentially try and jump the field. So, back onto the front of the leaders now. Will Durdude pit? No, he will go another lap at least. And he will try and stretch it out to 40-minute window. Superboy now in the red. Bar 27 will come into the pits this time by, and Chris Crow will stay out. So 3 liters of fuel is not a lot left. So I'm assuming Bar 27 might have to make the 3-stop work here for this race. Grand J10, Iapez still out, and Bar 27 will jump 5th and 6th. Sorry, I had to sneeze right there. Oh, and I thought Superboy was going to get it very, very loose out of that sweep, out of the sweeping S's, but it looked like he was able to keep it in control. And I'm assuming by the fuel that Superboy does have, he will come in this time. And the top 3, I assume, will come in this time by. And Durdude is looking to stretch the gap out. Even on lap 10, he is still setting some very, very quick times as well. So let's see if Durdude will come in to the pits this time by. Yes, he will. The leader, race leader, will come into the pits to try and, of course, take some fresh rubber and take a full tank of fuel, which in my case is a no-brainer. Superboy into the pits as well as the teammate to the 14, Christopher Crow, the 71. Crews refilling the cars. All of them refilling, waiting for the fuel nozzle to go out, and Durdude will be the first one out as expected. Superboy and Christopher Crow, who will come out first. Superboy will go out as well, and Christopher Crow will be behind him, not right behind him, but he will be behind him. So the first wave of pit stops have commenced, and race leader Durdude is still out in front. And of course now, as Grand J10 now is probably finally looking to, oh, is that Bar 27 that's going wide? Oh, it has! And he's done a very good job to save it, but Christopher Crow will now be directly behind him, as well as Grand J10, who Grand J10 has not had the luck to be able to be fighting with anybody, so this is finally going to be his first his chance to be able to try and make some passes, but he will have to come into the pit, so don't count him out entirely. So Grand J10 can save a bit of fuel on this stint, on the next stop. Oh no, Grand J10 gets in the wall. That's something he doesn't want to do at this point in the race, so that's a bit unfortunate. And Iapez will also be coming into the pits as well in the 11 Audi. And he's just saving fuel at the moment, so he's very, very low on fuel. Oh, and that's Bar 27, who has had a kiss with the wall, and he's taken damage again, so not good news for the Corvette, as he's trying to get past the GTR, and this has allowed Christopher Crow to sneak back up into third, so both Aston Martins in the top 3. And Grand J10 will have to come into the pits eventually. Iapez will jump in the pits now. And interestingly enough, he's going to take fuel only on this stop. So an interesting strategy call by the Audi. So I'm not particularly sure what the game plan is for this team. But that's a very, very interesting call on what they're doing right about there. So, bar 27 now. 5th, and he's trying to make up lost ground, of course. On board with the Corvette of bar 27. And the GTR understeering pretty heavily. And he is going to cross that pit line. I'm not sure if that's going to thwart him a penalty, but it might if it is. Fuel going in now. And it's on its way now. And interestingly, Grand J10 has gone to the medium tires. So I do not think mediums were allowed, as said by Elliott. I'm pretty sure that's what the case was. So I'm gonna have to scroll back up real quick. Okay, so it says no medium tires needed, but mediums are allowed. Thank you for confirming to me. Thank you for confirming with that to me. Not mandatory. Okay, so thank you for the confirmation there as I speak. But so for a lot of these guys here, Iapez and Grand J10, they're on very, very different strategies, but that's what makes this kind of racing special in a way, which the strategy calls that come a long way. That, oh, is that a car off? Oh, and that's Superboy, who's had an incident somewhere out of second place, and this has allowed Krista Crow to sneak up into second. Oh my goodness gracious me. What has happened to the Mercedes of Superboy that unfortunately has played a massive effect on the championship standings, as Superboy is trying to chase down bar 27 and Durdude. And if it stands right now, this is going to allow Durdude to take a comfortable lead in the championship. So major drama for bar 27 and Superboy. Oh my goodness me, and we thought the drama was over. And Krista Crow and Durdude now tandeming in the Blancpain Aston Martins, and Durdude has not looked back since, with just 33 and a half minutes to go. And oh, so super sideways he is again. And Superboy on the dive down to the inside of bar 27, trying to find some lost ground indeed. But bar 27 is not going to let an inch of room. Or maybe he's going to allow a couple of car lengths, of course, to be separated. Oh, that's a massive hit for bar out of the chicane. And so Krista Crow will continue to trail off in second, but he is slowly losing time to Superboy, who's only 4 seconds back. So not all hope is lost for Superboy. If he can capitalize on this with about 32 and a half minutes to go, that would be some comeback right about there. Dirty, who is 17 seconds ahead of second place, has for now pretty much clocked out. Unless he puts a foot wrong, which we have seen in the past, especially in events like Suzuka, where we thought that was a complete shambles race as well. With a lot of drama, of course, in that race as well, in the Pro-Am race. And, of course, in the Pro race as well for that weekend. So that was very, very chaotic indeed as well. So Dirty, who still continues to lead the way, is just not looking back at all, completely focusing on what's ahead of him as per usual. So while this is all unfolding now, I'm going to take a quick step away from the commentator's box and enjoy the sights and sound of the Straight Line Motorsports GT3 Championship on board with the Aston Martin. So, of course, coming to you back once again, we are live here at the Straight Line Motorsports GT3 Championship here at Dragon Trail Seaside. Definitely not Fuji from the first time I got a clickbait, put a clickbait title, and that was quickly sorted out, of course. And it looked like IPES 11, unfortunately, is down a lap. And Bar 27, who has gotten past Superboy, has picked up also a 3/10 penalty. So that might have been a bit of contact that might have happened as well between these two cars. So that's a big question mark that we will have to hopefully answer eventually. Oh, Superboy. Oh, and he gets it very loose and takes it very, very hard into the wall, as expected. Well, I mean, not expected, but you know, yeah. Oh my God, my English. The chicane is just pretty much a death sentence for pretty much anyone who just absolutely is just, yeah. It's just crazy for what happens, of course. But once again, these guys still going at it. Bar 27, who since winning the first race of the season has not been on the podium ever since Suzuka, or ever since Bathurst. So he is looking to probably try and get a podium back up underway for him. So from Polymer here in the chat says, Superboy hit the wall, the chicane, there wasn't any contact involved. I suspect Bar cut a corner somewhere. So potential track limits abuse to be had here for Dragon Trail. And that's kind of the thing with Dragon Trail as well. There's not really a lot you can do to cut a corner here, obviously. You know, unless, you know, I haven't raced much sport mode races here as well. And another snooze right about there. So, oh, that's Superboy. Oh, and I thought Superboy was going to go face first right into that chicane right there. And thankfully he did not, but it looked like he was about to. So it looked like he had to get that car pretty much full brake lock stop and get it out. And IPES now into the pits now with some fresh rubber with 25 minutes to go. So this is going to be a bit interesting right here. And he's not, and he has gone to the mediums as well. So this is going to be an interesting strategy call as well. So he does get lapped by these two. Oh, and Superboy has gone around somewhere, and he's picked up a bit more damage again. So another hefty setback by the Mercedes, who is seriously desperate to try and get back in this Pro-Am Championship, and that's not the way on how he wants to do it right about there. Superboy hits the wall on the inside of turn 2, so race director Palmer confirming that, and unfortunately for him, it is once again another hefty setback for the 29 Mercedes. And of course, this is the car that did win at Fuji, so he does have a win to his credit. And Durdude is still, with 23 minutes to go, continues to look forward and not even a smidge look backwards at all. So this field now pretty spread out, but Chris the Crow doing a good job. Bar 27 now. Oh, now it's going to be a cut of the pit line. He's going to get a penalty for that as well. So once again, not a good day for the people who have cut the pit line. Well, you're not supposed pit lane, so you're not supposed to do that. But oh my goodness me, that is going to take him out of third place right about there, I'm pretty sure. So, and with the fuel that bar 27 has, he might have to splash and dash at the end, because with 22 minutes to go, I do not think he will make the end of this race on the field that he has right about now. So he's going to save quite a bit of fuel if he wants to make this race work for him, obviously. GT3 still on the mediums after his last pit stop, so he's trying something new, he's trying something different, which is quite a unique thing to have within this championship. Palmer says it's a tough pit entry, but there still doesn't mean there won't be a penalty. Yeah, unfortunately, you got to slow up for that pit lane. Obviously, you just can't seem to give that away. Oh, that's a big off for GT3, who gets it still straight and point in the straight direction. Point. Oh my God, my English again. I swear to God, one of these people, I swear to God, someone is going to make a whole compilation of me with my English fails. Oh, and get the card point in there. Oh, that's a big hit right there for GT3. Oh my goodness me. Oh, that was a hard hit right about there for GT3, and he's picked up a 3/10 penalty, which he served pretty quickly. Bar 27 with the 2/10 penalty. Has Bar 27? Oh no, he's pitted. Never mind. I apologize. I thought Bar 27 had another incident somewhere on the track. Palmer says pit stop's coming soon, but Bar 27 has made his pit stop. He might have to make another one with that fuel flow of that Corvette. So the top three are having to think about pit stops coming soon. And with the fuel that Dude has, he might be coming in this time by. GT3 almost a lap down from the leaders. This lap for Dude and Superboy, and Dude will come in this time by for his final stop of the race. Just under 20 minutes to go. 4 sets of Michelin slicks will go on. Racing softs have been very, very good indeed for this man right about here, and he's looking to take his second win of the season after winning a very dramatic race at Suzuka. And Chris the Crow will follow suit to back his teammate up in the 71 Aston Martin. As one Aston Martin comes in, another one comes, one Aston Martin leaves, another one comes in. It's just like it's like an assembly line, of course, if you want to refer back to the 29 Chinese Grand Prix of Mercedes pit stops, obviously. So, and don't even count out Superboy yet for second place, maybe. So, this is going to get very, very interesting indeed. IPES now comes across the start-finish line. Chris the Crow will jump ahead of Superboy and Bar 27. And Superboy has jumped Bar 27, so this is a heftier setback for Bar 27. So this is not good news for him as he's trying to make up some lost ground, as he's trying to make some points happen in the championship. Oh, and that was a very, very odd driving line for Chris the Crow. I'm assuming he went a bit wide on cold tires, hit the gravel trap, and skirted back to the driver's right for the apex, and just got that car slowed down in time to make the corner. Superboy cut over the pit line, so that's another penalty for these guys. Close, but he still crossed over. Ooh, so that's going to be... So we got some penalties coming our way as it stands. So, Stewart, of course, will take a look at the penalties and apply them post-race. So on board now with the Nissan GTR of Grand J10. He's certainly... Well, I mean, I was gonna say he's certainly getting used to the GTR before that happened, so I almost gave Grand J10 the commentator's curse right about there. So, of course, over the season we will continue to monitor the progress of Grand J10 in the Nissan GTR. Oh, and I almost jinxed, he almost jinxed me again, so. Superboy and Bar 27 still within 2.5 seconds of each other. Of course, series points are on the table. And Bar 27 is still at that 2/10 penalty, which he will have to serve with about 14-ish minutes to go. And he does not want to let go of third place for a fact. So, we will get out here. Oh, was that? Oh, I thought Iapez had went around. He's going to let the 27 Corvette go by and not get in its way, which is a very, very sportsmanlike action for Iapez. And hopefully, as we progress in the season, we will see him improve within the Audi as well. And Durdude still leading by a comfortable 30-second margin now over the nearest competitor, which is his teammate Chris Crow in the 71 Aston Martin. So, penalties could be coming in for Bar 27 and Superboy. How much is the penalty? Coming over the pit entry line, I think it's about 5 seconds. So, we are looking, so at the moment, if we're looking at penalties, and Grand J10 has made its way to the pit. So, is he going to try a neat little call here for strategy to get back on the softs? Yes, he is back on the softs. And I think that was the race leader. Yes, it was. So, unfortunately there, Durdude has overlapped the Nissan of Grand J10, and that is another lap car. So, 4 cars on the lead lap now as it stands. Yeah, Palmer says at this point the race order will change. I was gonna suggest that, considering the fact that we've had the penalties for Superboy and Bar 27, of course Chris Crow was still 6 seconds ahead. Even if he was assigned one of those penalties, as it stands, considering the fact that he is more than 5 seconds ahead of Superboy, the race order will not change, especially because of the fact that, you know, Durdude and Chris Crow are too far ahead, and Grand J10 and Iapez are too far behind. So, Superboy and Bar 27 will just, they're going to get penalties, but nothing's going to get changed out of this. So, nothing's going to be changed, like, as I said, but, you know, penalties are penalties, and, I mean, sometimes order still has to be directed within certain racing championships. So, with that said, Chris Crow still 7 seconds ahead of the Mercedes of Superboy. And these Aston Martins have done a very, very incredible job here, just keeping control of the field, and obviously keeping their heads down when everyone else wasn't able to, unfortunately. And of course, just barely escaped tragedy with that final chicane, which in most people's minds can just rot in you know where. Trying to keep some form of potential monetization. So like, it's like if you wanted to get monetization or something like that, then yeah, then I will not strategize on that. So back to the race we go. Durdude now a whopping 32 seconds ahead of his teammate, and he has not looked back ever since the start of this race. Ever since the start of this race 40 minutes ago, or I should say 50 minutes ago, Jesus me, 50 minutes ago, and after taking the lead just only 10 minutes of this race, he has not looked back over the last 40 minutes, and he has just done an impressive job in the 14 Aston Martin. He's looking to take his second win of the season. Oh, just the over revs of the Aston Martin, just absolutely on par. Oh, this is something that's going to be interesting right here. Durdu is going to come into the pits. I do not know what it's for. I think it might be to try and overcover it. Yes, he's going to just come in early and just guarantee himself that he will make the race on fresh rubber. So, I'm not saying it's a bad call, but they can take the loss of time for some new rubber and just to safely guarantee himself a race win. So, dude at this point has nothing really to lose except that time that he has got. And Grand GT3 goes over to the driver's right, which is a very, very good thing for Durdu because he doesn't really get held up by the GTR. So that's a very, very good gentleman-like move for Grand GT3, who apparently in this race, and I think that might be the commentator's curse that we were all waiting to see happen. So, like I said, I mean, things happen for people, and unfortunately, even if we're switching out to new cars, you know, stuff like this will happen, and unfortunately, it's just we have to wait and see. And we will monitor the progress of how development goes for this team right about here and this driver as well. Bart's 27 now with just only 1/10 of a penalty now to serve left, so he's trying his best now to ridicule as much penalties again. He's only 1.4 seconds behind Superboy, and Superboy that we know is quick in that Mercedes. So, of course, these two very, very behind on the two Aston Martins, but there's no reason for them to still keep fighting for points, obviously. So, and Bar 27 will definitely be looking to try and sneak a podium for that Corvette. Oh, the rumbles of the Corvette as well. A lot of these cars can provide a nice rumble for the braking zone there. .2 seconds the gap now for Bar 27 to Superboy, and there's only 7 minutes of this race to go. So there's, I'm imagining, going to be 3 to 4 laps left of this race. So, Durdu now. I'm just going to come a little bit closer to the mic here. Durdu now still doing a very, very good job indeed of leading the field with just under 6.5 minutes to go in the motor race for the Pro-Am drivers here within the Straight Line Motorsports GT3 Championship. And Bar 27 is still trying to get rid of that penalty in any way he can to try and get a bit closer to the Mercedes. So, Ipez still on the medium tires. The only one on the medium tires. He's a minute down on Grand J10, and unfortunately that might not be, I think it might be a tough day for him, unfortunately, but it is his debut in the series, so we can't really get on about it. So so a good debut for him, unfortunately, but despite it being P6, of course, you know, progress has to start somewhere within championships. So, and hopefully Iapez will look to be moving up in the championship as well. One person that has certainly moved up in the championship presumably with this race will be their dude 14, who is only just under 28 seconds now ahead of Christopher Crow, who has also done a very, very great job in this race. So what will Christopher Crow do here? Yes, Christopher Crow, he did get a third at Fuji, and he will look to add another podium to his race arsenal. And Durdude with a fastest lap of the race with a 1:37.8. So is that a purple sector? Yes, it is. Purple sector of a 33. I can't really read that. 33.583 out of the final chicane, or no, it's not chicane. The final sector. So a very, very good day for him indeed, and he is looking to take as much points as he can with a pole, a fast race win here today. So Christopher Crow 8 seconds ahead of Superboy, and he is pretty much cleared off from these two right about here. We're only separated by a second. Oh, and this is with, oh, you know what? I think Bar 27 might have to come in for the splash and dash, because he is on red and that fuel depletes very rapidly indeed. So I think this might have just graced Superboy with a potential podium. Now, I'm not sure if Bar 27 is going to try and fuel save for this race, but it will be an absolute driver's skill if you can be able to do it at this late in the race. Superboy is still up there. He's within striking distance. Well, I mean, he's a 1 second. Yeah, he's trying for the most part. James had saying, I said, who's it going to be today for Sunday commentator's curse? And James says, will probably be me again. Oh, and that's going to be a hard hit into the chicane for Bar 27, and that unfortunately might be day done for him for a potential podium spot. So I'd say come to the pits now. He doesn't have nothing to lose, unfortunately, and unfortunately for him, that would be day done for him. And he actually gets the pit entry corrected this time, so he doesn't have to be tacked on another 5 seconds for this motor race. And of course, the fuel going in the car, and unfortunately, that is not the way on how he anticipated to end this race. So Superboy is only 12 seconds up on Bar 27, and Chris the Crow a further 10 seconds ahead of Superboy. And of course, this man, Durdude, has not looked back at all. He has been in complete control of this race, and he has pretty much dominated this race since the first 10 minutes of this race. So, coming across pit straight for the final time. 1 flag to go. White flag is in the air for one more lap, and he is still setting fastest lap of the race by 0.06 of a second. So he is on an absolute tear right about now within the 14 Aston Martin. Oh, and you know what? He might be trying to save the fuel, because look at that. Oh, this might be some major drama for the late stages of this race. And all of a sudden, Durdude might be having to save fuel in this race. Wait, Durdude is trying to save fuel urgently, so this could be major drama for the man who had been leading this race the whole time. And Chris the Crow will be absolutely on a flying charge right here to try and gain his first win of the season. So this is absolute drama for the race leader of Durdude, and this could potentially let Superboy and Bar 27 on the podium. So this has major championship implications for this race. Dirty, who had pushed so long and so far into this race, is losing time drastically in this race. So Bartels had to underfueled. Well, actually, he had to cover the first splash and dash because there was nothing he could have done there. But Krista Crow, he could sneak it on the last lap of this race. And Dirty now is pushing. So it looked like it was a major scare right over there. I think he might be waiting for his teammate to get the perfect photo opportunity right about here. Hold on, we'll turn it off. And there is Krista Crow in the background. And Dirdude is gonna barely come across the line with his teammate right behind him as Dirdude and Krista Crow make it an Aston Martin 1-2. What a chaotic end to this race. Superboy will hold on to third for a podium finish. And the championship leader, Bar27, will probably have to relinquish the championship lead to the race winner of Dirdude, who had a massive scare at the end of this race, but Dirdude will claim his second win of the season in the 14 Aston Martin with pole position, fastest lap, and a race win here today. So we go to our race results. There you have it right about there. And of course, we will invite our podium finishers into the party for our podium interviews. So now, we invite Krista Crow, Dirdude, and where is it? Superboy. So there are our podium interviewees who we wait to have join. And of course, we do have the first of our podium finishers in the form of Superboy right about here in the 29 Mercedes SLS AMG GT3. Now, Superboy, of course, that looked like it was a very difficult race for you, of course, but obviously I think you could have hoped for the maximum in today. Tell us about your race, obviously, Superboy.
Yeah, just the track is a very dodgy track. Yeah, I heard about the penalty for the pit lane. The pit lane's just dodgy in its own right. You have you have a very slim chance of actually getting into the pits at full speed. Without going through the white lines. It's very dodgy.
Yeah, I think on that last corner, I think most people kind of understand that they have to slow down to be able to not get a penalty for excuse me, for that penalty, obviously, but of course, Bar27 also getting a penalty with that as well, so not much is changing, but of course, we move on to our, hopefully waiting for Dirdude and Krista Crow, but I guess while we wait for them...
It's going to get easier for me anyway. We got one of my favourite tracks coming next.
Yeah, I think... yeah, for the Pro-Am guys, we have... I gotta find it real quick. Yeah, we got about... MON. I'm not particularly sure on what that is. Oh, no, it is Monza. Oh, boy. So we got...
Monza. Oh, I am very tasty on that track.
So, of course, Superboy saying his excitement for the race, but... unfortunately, Dirdude and Krista Crow, I guess, not able to make the podium interviews. But, ladies and gentlemen, that was the Pro-Am race for the Straight Line Motorsports GT3 Championship here at Dragon Trail Seaside. I've been host and commentator for today's race, SD_RDZ, and we will bring out the Pro category here in a brief time. Thank you all for tuning in, and we will see you guys next time.